Show. Welcome to Bhavika's Chat Show. This is your host, Bhavika Kocher. I speak to interesting personalities from different domains like customer success, product management, entrepreneurship, and much more. So let's get started. Hey everyone, today we have a very special guest with us, and it's none other than Tripti Dubey. She's been working as a global director of customer success at Joveo. She's worked at a couple of companies like Sprinkler, Arca Networks. She's also completed her MBA at University of Wales, which is situated in United Kingdom. Isn't that amazing? Hey Tripti, what's up?
Hi, Bhavika. I am doing good. How have you been?
I'm doing good. Thank you for accepting this request to be on the show, and I'm really
Absolutely.
happy that you're here with us. The topic that is pillars of customer success, and I'll just give it over to you now to learn more about pillars of customer success from you.
Thank you, Bhavika. First of all, thank you so much for letting me be here. And it is my pleasure to be talking to you about the details about pillars of customer success. Um, I will do my best to give my understanding and my side of the story of what pillars of customer success are like. In order to understand the details about customer success, I'm going to start actually at the journey where I started out with customer success. While I was studying back in Europe, in UK, I was working for a company called Tesco. It's a pretty famous grocery chain over
Yes.
there. And that is where I first started working as a tiller, which whose job is to bill everything and help pack. And you get to interact with a lot of people in that case, right?
Right.
So that's where I was first introduced to the concept of relationship building, understanding the needs of your customers, understanding the goals of your customers, which is they want a thorough shopping, they want a very smooth shopping experience, and if there are any issues with the products, they would walk up to you and say, hey, I can't find this product, or there's something wrong with this product and I want to exchange it or something. Unknowingly at that point in time also I was doing customer success, but I had no idea about the customer success industry, the concepts, etc. And from there till here, my journey as a leader in customer success organization, in our family of customer success, it has been pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So when we look at the backstory of customer success and how it evolved, I think the very first time somebody spoke about or did this was, I think, 96, 97. There was a company called Vantiv, if I remember this correctly.
Okay.
And they realized that somehow whenever their earnings are happening, the maximum earnings happened only at the time of sale, where they were selling perpetual licenses.
Okay.
And post that, they would not see a lot of repeat customers. There were many issues in terms of implementations, and hence they will lose customers. So that's when John, the CEO of the company, brought in a person named Murray, and Murray introduced the CS team. If they were not calling it as CS at that time, at that point in time, maybe it was called something else. But
Something else.
that's where all of it started. And what they did was, they would, when the customer was being signed up, they would ask the customer the question of, what does success mean to you? What would
Hmm.
you like to see throughout your time with Vantiv? And that's how they would get answers. That's how they would collect goals. So
Okay.
that's where the entire concept began of customer success, and then slowly all the software organizations and everybody adopted. So of course we know Salesforce as the company that in, I think, 2008 properly started customer success and the term and etc., but
Okay.
I think started way back. Now, talking about the pillars of customer success itself, if you would want to understand it in two ways. One would be quite practical, that you might be doing on a daily basis
Yeah.
too, not just in your professional career, but in your personal lives as well, which is you interact with people, a lot of
Right.
people, maybe your family, maybe your colleagues, maybe your friends,
Hmm.
and you talk to them, you understand them, have a conversation, listen to them, and
Right.
then you give back some answers. And
True.
that's your communication piece that gets taken care of. That's what you do with your customers to communicate with them. But
Correct.
if you have to understand it in a professional structured manner for any software organization, the stages are pretty simple. The stages start at signing the customer, then you onboard them, then you engage them, then you make sure the goals are getting achieved, you have different touch points, then you renew, or either they're at a churn risk, you forecast that risk, and then the cycle repeats, right, and goes
Right.
from there. So two different things I would say, but all of them lead towards making our customers successful.
Awesome, awesome. That's really true. And you mentioned a very great point, Tripti, that um, it's a very simple thing if we talk about customer success, because we do communication in day-to-day life as well, right? When we communicate with our parents, when we communicate with our friends, or maybe someone out there, I went for a grocery shopping, I'm communicating there. So communication is the key. And if we talk about customer success role, definitely the more you communicate with your customers, the better it is, because they get more comfortable with you. They'll feel like sharing a lot of things with you. Otherwise, if a person or if anyone out there is not comfortable, they might not share their pain points, their concerns, or their wins. So that's where communication plays a very important role. I definitely agree with you there. Awesome. So let's go ahead with our round, which is the next round, that's called the rapid fire round. Though we do not have any hampers for you, but yes, I definitely know that you will pass with flying colors. Um, okay, let's go ahead with the first question in the rapid fire round, which is, which are the stakeholders with whom a CSM should be engaged?
Actually, the answer, again, I would say, and you will see that I relate this quite a bit to
Right.
our real life, the lives that's
Yes.
happening outside our professional lives, right? So, in any given conversation, people who get affected by that conversation become your stakeholders. Now, when you are assigned an account and you start speaking to the main points of contacts on a daily basis, who's probably very much involved in
Hmm.
setting up a campaign for you or helping you build adoption for your product, that
Right.
person would become your main point of contact. You will have your weekly check-ins, you'll have your regular monthly check-ins with them, etc. But are those the only people that you should be talking to?
Right.
If that is the case, and if that's what any CSM is doing, it's going to not allow them to have visibility then further into what the goals and motives are. So collecting this by having a multi-level relationship, and
Right.
then making sure all the stakeholders that are involved, starting from decision makers, who are the actual people who take decisions about
Hmm.
the renewal that you're working towards, people who are influencers, people who might not be directly using the product or services on a daily basis, but their say matters. You have to build a relationship with them as well.
Right.
People who might be detractors because probably they did not have a great experience when their team was using it initially, or they favor your competition for some reason, but they have a say in the decision finally when the renewal will happen. So you'll have to take care of the detractors as well. So I would say stakeholders externally would be the decision makers, influencers, and all of these different people that you're talking to.
Right.
But are the stakeholders limited to just this external side of your conversations that you do? I don't think so. Because internally, you need to keep people posted too. You need to go back to your leaders, give them the feedback that you are collecting from your customers on a daily basis.
Right.
Introduce your leaders to the leadership team on the other end. So there is the multi level connection that I was talking about. In fact, in a deep accounts, in accounts where quite a lot of strategy is involved, or strategic accounts, there will always be multi-level connections. There are always going to be different stakeholders talking to other different stakeholders in the customer side, and that can go all the way up till your C level, your
Right.
all the way up till your CEO as well, for the matter of fact, right? So
That's true.
everybody who gets affected by this relationship
Yes.
that customer success people have built with the customer will become the stakeholders. And then, of course, you keep everybody in loop at all times.
True, true. Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that information, Tripti. It definitely makes sense to keep everyone in the loop. And like you very rightly mentioned, that we need to be we need to be in touch with any sort of stakeholder out there. It's not just that we just be in touch with the people who we talk to in day-to-day life, right? Their point of contacts or their champions, but maybe the executive level of relationships also need to be created, because if we have to scale the account, we'll have to be in touch with many other points. So thank you so much for giving us that insight. Moving ahead with our second question, why are using metrics so important for a CSM?
Okay. So let me ask you this, Bhavika. There was a goal that you set out to achieve in 2021.
Yeah,
How do you know that that goal was achieved? It could be anything, right? It could be
yeah,
you wanted to run every day, or you wanted
yes.
to, I don't know, go to gym every day. How do you know that you actually were successful or not in
I think
achieving that goal?
right. The answer lies in the question itself. That yes, I'll definitely be checking the metrics that I've been chasing. So, for example, if I'm chasing my weight or if I'm chasing something else, my energy levels. So I'll just see that how's my energy level at the start of the year, and now how have they been improving like during the year. So you very rightly mentioned, I think, and that's what you really wanted to point out. Yes.
Right. Yeah. No, I definitely did. Right. But there's one more thing when it comes to customer success, right? If you want to understand your customers are successful or not, there has to be quantifiable metrics that you should
Yes.
be able to measure and measure in a timely fashion and communicate back with the customers on that. That forms the very basis of them knowing whether or not there is value in the product and service that you are providing. And in order to come and derive or also whether or not there is what is the ROI
Yeah.
that the investment that they have done in the product or the service, there
Right.
have to be quantifiable measurable metrics. It may vary what kind of
Yes.
metrics you collect. There
Yes.
could be happiness scores that you can
Right.
collect. There could be product related scores that you could collect.
Correct.
There will be different goals that you have set up, probably smaller goals to
Right.
achieve in order to achieve the big goal. But
True.
all of it has to be tied back to some or the other metrics.
True.
If you cannot have quantifiable metrics, ultimately you cannot prove the value. You might be able to talk about it quite a bit,
Yeah.
but in writing, if it has to be proved, it has to be
True.
related
Yes.
to quantifiable metrics.
True. True. Because we'll not be able to prove it if we don't have the numbers. Like data speaks for itself. Great. Great point. Let's go ahead with the next question, Tripti, which is difference between tech touch onboarding and high touch onboarding.
Right. Now, in my experience as a leader, as well as initially being part of the team of customer success, being a customer success manager
Yeah.
myself, there's different slabs of customers, usually
Hmm.
divided by, say, revenue that they bring into the organization.
Right.
Now, if I go on that basis, that low revenue customers versus high revenue customers, there can be a division that you can do of onboarding based on high touch, goes for higher revenue customers, versus tech touch could work well for your low revenue section of customers. Now, what is the difference between the two? The difference being more human involvement, I would say. Tech touch would allow you to have a portal, a
Yeah.
section in your website that you can give access to the customer to, which
Yeah.
will have, say, a help section that would allow them to read all the articles, that might have training manuals or
Right.
courses for them that they can do on their own. And
Right.
then in some cases, there's also self onboarding in
Yes.
case that you
Yes.
provide the product and
Product.
then they can configure it on their
It,
own
it'll
by
be
with the
self-driven.
help of the
Yes.
etc.
Yes.
Yep, that completely becomes your tech side of onboarding.
True.
But then, as in when you have more strategic accounts,
Mm.
more bigger accounts, you start involving humans. The very first human touch that they get is your customer success manager, right?
Definitely.
And sometimes there might be a separate onboarding team altogether that might get the customer first, and they will onboard the customer, they will train the customer, then hand over to the CSM, and then
Right.
the CSM takes forward from there. And they will also get, say, a support team. There can be dedicated support or tech support people as well for such
Right.
accounts. So basic difference is technology versus humans, but the reasons could be anything.
Anything. Got it. Awesome. Let's go ahead with the last question of the rapid fire round. If the product isn't doing well and is not a market fit, how should an efficient CSM handle his accounts?
Okay.
Yeah.
If a product is not a market fit, I would say, first of all, it should not have come to a CSM. The company should have known it's not a market fit. But
Right.
um, when there are some customers or very less customers saying that, you know what, I don't have this feature and hence it's not a fit for me,
Right.
um, you can still be all right, because there's a majority, a big section or a big chunk of your customers that are okay with the product, right? They're happy with
Right.
the product or your services. But if there's a lot of customers giving you a similar feedback, then it becomes important for you to take that feedback and understand like what's going on. Is it actually not a fit? And then what do you do in this case? You do
True.
what any regular CSM or a leader would do. You will collect all the feedback, you will take it back internally to all the different stakeholders that we were talking about. You will take
Right.
it back to your leader. Your
Right.
leader will take it to the other, say, to the product team, to the services team,
Yes.
and to the sales team
Yeah.
who actually sold the product in the first place. And then also talk to the C-level people and try to understand what are these features and get that incorporated into the product roadmap. So if
Right.
you'll see us, collecting feedback becomes very, very important over here, and
Totally.
ultimately how it gets executed at the end and how we heard the feedback and what we did with it can change the future from not being a product fit or a market fit
Yeah.
into actually making it a market fit.
Very right. Very rightly mentioned, Tripti, because I've seen this in the past. Sometimes some customer feedbacks, like, of course, all the customer feedbacks are important, but sometimes there are some very crucial customer feedbacks which can change your product in a good sense, and the other customers will get the benefit out of it as well, because the feature will be live across all the customers, right? So that's very important, that you need to hear the right feedback, and that communication needs to go from, yes, customer success manager to the product team, and there'll be of course a to and fro, but it's just about the right coordination between the teams so that they can make their product a better fit for the market, basically, right?
Yeah.
So yes, I am definitely there with you. Okay, cool. So we are we're done with the rapid fire round, and I'm really sorry I don't have any chocolate hampers for you, but definitely you were great with your answers. Going ahead with the last round, which is called three W's. So I'll be asking you the three W questions, and I'll of course be looking forward to your answers. With the first question, which is your favorite CS book and why?
Books. Okay. I'm more of a movie buff person, to be honest.
Okay,
And I think all the CS books out there are great, right? There are
right,
more and more books. There's more and more material that's available out there today for any CSM to grab to understand. There are certifications.
right,
There's so much going on today in terms of
definitely,
the CS industry. It's the
yeah,
buzz, right?
yeah,
I would not pick up a single book. Rather, actually, I would like to relate this to, say, anything ordinary or extraordinary, like Harry Potter, maybe. And how do you relate it to Harry Potter now
okay,
in two ways?
yeah,
Harry Potter itself is a very successful movie series, book series.
right,
And how did it become successful? If you would see, it did not become any other just one movie, but it ended up delighting a lot of its customer base, all the way from kids to adults. And customer delight is something that worked for them. And in the end, there's a big fan base that they have today, right? But and a similar approach, I think, was followed of customer success in the movie as well. Now,
right.
and this is going totally off topic, but
No
if
worries.
you'll see Harry Potter,
Yeah,
all he's trying to do is achieve goals, right? Like
yes,
his ultimate goal is, I need to really destroy Voldemort. And he keeps on doing that by achieving smaller goals,
right,
ultimately to achieve the wildly important goal that he had set out to, right? So that's what he was doing. And he was strategizing throughout the movie, and he had different stakeholders with him. He
yeah,
had Hermione, he had Ron helping him
yeah,
out, right?
yeah.
So I would say it was completely based on customer success, but definitely, I really like that movie series. Okay, that's my
So thank
answer.
you for refreshing those memories around Harry Potter, and very interesting answer, I must say. Okay, going ahead with the second question, what do you think CS will look like in 2022?
In 2022, the future of CS, I think the future of the entire company has tilted towards CS strategies, right? And
Right,
this is why it's more and more important for us to understand what CS is all about. If somebody's a beginner, if you're already here, people like you and I, we are working towards this future of customer success.
right,
Now, it is no longer limited to just customer success organizations, and the reason for it is quite simple. Earlier, pre-CS days looked like, for a customer, the entire life cycle probably will finish with the sale being happening. But after that, now with customer success introduction, the CS strategies have come into place that helps increase the customer life cycle. It provides value to the
Right.
customer in a manner that allows us time to first of all understand what they want. And those CS strategies are the future of the entire company. So instead of talking about just the future of customer success, I would say customer success strategies are the future for any given company. And if they can get that right and get the execution right, I think they have a winner.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that, Tripti. Going ahead with one last question, which is one advice you would like to give to anyone who wants to enter CS. Any newbie out there who wants to enter the customer success domain, if there's one advice that you can give it, it'll be helpful. Yeah.
Okay, I will say be fearless.
Awesome.
You dive in with your nose first, but strategically, because that's very, very important. and
Right.
and just go out there, like use your daily life's lessons in order to communicate with your customers. Of
Right.
course, do it professionally for sure, but
Right.
somehow customer success is not just a professional concept. It applies to your personal life as well,
Right.
and how you handle different stakeholders, and how you achieve your own goals, how your families achieve goals, friends achieve goals, and you can take that and apply it here to customer success world also. So be fearless.
Awesome. Be bold, be fearless. Awesome.
Absolutely,
Thank you so
yes.
much, Tripti. It was wonderful chatting with you, Tripti, and I'm sure you had fun too. I definitely
You did.
had fun talking to you on pillars of customer success, and really looking forward to meeting you in future as well.
Thank you so much for having me here again, Bhavika. It was a pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you. Bye bye.
Take care. Bye bye.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and if yes, please spread the word. I would love to know your feedback, hence, feel free to drop me a ping over LinkedIn. Stay tuned to many more interesting episodes. See you.